Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to answer the question, do Lightroom presets and video LUTs really work, or is it just a marketing scheme? I know you've been there where you bought your favorite creator's preset pack and you went and dropped it on one of your photos and it looks like trash. So today I'm going to show you, using my preset pack and some other packs from other creators, how to get the best results using any of these presets, the things that I look for to make sure that I get the best edit possible. So let's get in the video right now. So what are presets and LUTs? Basically, they're just saved settings of a photo or a video edit that you can just use again on different footage. Now the question is, does it work every time? The answer is no. So there's a couple of things that I look for and do every single time I'm using either my packs or someone else's packs, just to make sure I'm getting the best image possible, and how just simply shifting your mentality of thinking of just one click and done to just actually thinking about it this way is going to give you much better results consistently. Now, I'm also super excited to announce that I've partnered with Moment to actually host my presets and video LUTs on their website. This is such an achievement for me because I've looked up to that company. You know, they're really big in the community, love what they do. I have some of their products. I'm using one of their filters right now. I have a phone filter also, and they recently announced that they were hosting other creators' presets and LUTs. And the fact that I'm finally up there with these other awesome creators is pretty ridiculous. It's kind of mind-blowing to me because, you know, I never thought that'd be possible. So I'm so excited, and a big thanks to Moment for letting me join the family and have my digital products on their page. I'm gonna link it below so you can check it out. It's super cool because it's not only my digital products, but like a mini bio page, and so it's awesome. I feel honored. So now let's actually get into Lightroom presets, and I'm gonna try and keep this short and sweet because I don't want this to be a 20-minute tutorial. Aiming for that 5 to 7 mark. We can do it. So I have my real estate preset pack pulled up on the side, and first thing I do before any of that stuff is I'm gonna crop the image to what I want it to be. I wanna get these, you know, the side of the roof out, kind of get the horizon in the center, make sure it's level. That looks good. So these presets that I created are honestly meant to be as close as to one click and done as I can get it, especially because you want your stuff in real estate to look natural. So we're not aiming to do trendy, crazy edits or anything like that. So sometimes it can be one and done, but I'm gonna show you what I look for no matter what I'm doing. So I'm gonna come over here to my exterior preset, which is exterior natural. That looks pretty cool. And exterior dramatic, which is basically like an enhanced version. And because this is a really cool landscape shot of like the view from this balcony, I'm gonna go with that. So if we apply that, it's honestly pretty good. Like, this is a really good starting point. But the first thing I do, no matter what preset I'm using, is adjust exposure. Never just leave the exposure as is whenever you drop a preset on. For example, this came out a little dark. I'm gonna bring up the shadows a bit, bring down the highlights to even it out much more. Balance it to where the greens are pretty much perfectly exposed, and that looks really good right there. Number 2 is white balance. No matter what, I feel like any preset pack should never have a saved white balance, but sometimes I'll use another pack from someone else or something, and it will just have like a saved white balance and it looks terrible. I never understood that because every scene is different, so why would you manipulate the white balance? So I'm gonna use my little eyedropper tool, target the clouds right here. Let's see, that looks pretty good there. Nice, warmed it up a bit and gave it some magenta, which it was lacking. That's looking really good. My third tip is contrast. You always want to adjust contrast, and in this case we actually can just use the contrast slider. So it did seem like it was overly punchy whenever we first put it on, so I'm gonna bring it down a little bit, just like that. Now another way you could adjust this is, let's say that your contrast level was like up here and you like that way that it looked, but you wanted to manipulate contrast somewhere else. You could use the tone curve. So you can hold shift so your points don't move, they just go up and down, and basically make this less of an S curve to reduce contrast. Like that. So that's another way you can reduce contrast. Now the last thing that I look for is color and skin tones. So we have exposure, white balance, contrast, and now colors and skin tones. So again, this preset of mine is meant to just honestly make everything look natural and just like a nice cohesive natural palette. So we can see that in the preset, we're enhancing greens and blues and kind of shifting my blues a little bit more aqua, just because I like that a little bit more than just like purple looking blues. The only thing I'm gonna manipulate is right here, the luminance, not like that looked kind of weird. So just bring it up a bit. And that's it. In a couple of clicks after using the preset, I was able to get to a final starting point. Now, if we go back to our history and we look to where we first put it on, you could keep that, but it looks just like you just slapped a filter on and you didn't really adjust stuff because it looks a little underexposed, the white balance is a little off, and then after some quick adjustments, it looks like a really nice photo. But we still use that preset as a base, so we didn't have to start from scratch. And that's the whole point. Moving on to an interior shot. So here we have interior. I'm gonna use my interior details simply because it has a little bit more contrast and want to keep that in the wood floors. Some of these other ones, like this one right here, HDR, is too flat for this scene. So I'm gonna use that one. Exposure, fix a couple of these settings right here, like my shadows. Nice. Orientation, make sure it's aligned. Cool. That's looking good. Now contrast, white balance, target something neutral. This chair right here is a good spot. There we go. Still tweaking a few things. A little bit too much on the magenta. There we go. 13's nice. There we go. Don't need to manipulate any colors in this sense because it's already how I want it, because it's meant for this scene. Only thing I like to do now is kind of use my brush to dodge a couple areas, kind of like 55 exposure, kind of like the Stark wall where maybe the flash didn't hit entirely. Again, I'm doing this super quick for you guys because I don't want this to be a really long video. Just like that, just enhancing it a little bit. That looks good. Before, after. Nice. Now let's use a different preset pack because obviously this is not real estate. So this is a cool photo of my wife's sister. We just did a cool photo shoot testing out a new lighting setup. So I'm gonna use a film preset pack that I like to use called Mastin Labs. And let's go to Fuji color because I really like, you know, those film emulations and I feel like it'll work pretty cool for this. So, oh wow, these already look pretty cool. I think this first one was already good. Cool. Preset is put on. We could leave it like this, but there's some things I want to tweak. Exposure, gonna fix exposure. White balance, I'm gonna target something neutral like this white line right here. That's accurate. Now contrast, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Let's go see what's going on with the tone curve. Ooh, a lot of contrast right here. I want it a little flatter because it's kind of like the vibe of it. So just kind of tweaking this a little bit. Yes, that's good. And then color and skin tones. Skin tones look pretty good. Let's see, we can use the dropper tool right here to see if we can tweak anything. There we go. And then I want the jeans to be a little bit more aqua, kind of fit this film vibe. Bam, that looks pretty cool. Only thing it needs is a personal choice of some grain. I just love that look. Looks so cool. And that, I feel like that really sells the film emulation type shot. So before, after, and if we just go to the preset, that would have been fine, but it just wasn't where I wanted it to be. So using those same 4 things that we adjust, exposure, white balance, contrast, and colors, we have a pretty solid image. And that's it. You know, you can take this further and do obviously like whatever else you want to do, but this is good for me. So being a photographer and using preset packs like this over and over again for my whole photography career, I've really developed this formula that just works great every time. If you simply adjust those 4 things, you will pretty much always have a really nicely done photo, unless it's just like a crazy preset pack that just isn't good to begin with. You can do this formula whenever you use someone else's preset packs, mine, or even if you start to make your own. Every preset is like a base starting point, and you'll be better off on creating better images. So now let me show you how you can use the same formula with video LUTs. Let's look at some couple clips in Premiere Pro, some real estate and some other lifestyle type shots. So here we have a shot of a house. This is shot in 4K on the R6, just a cool little shot of it. exterior 1 log preset, drag that on. Looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna bring up my scopes, Lumetri scopes, that's what I used to grade with every time. Nice. So obviously this would be acceptable, but there's a couple of things I'm gonna change. First, let's look at exposure. I'm gonna keep it in the 60 to 70 range for what I'm exposing for. So in this case, it's the house. And I'm gonna go like that. Reduce highlights a little bit more. Nice. White balance, let's target something neutral. There you go. That looks good. Now let's see where some of these blacks are right here. There we go. Cool, before and after. The really cool thing about these video presets that I made in particular for Premiere is that you can fully edit them like you would in like Lightroom. Basically, like you saw, I can adjust all of my settings, and you typically can't do that with LUTs, and so that's one of the things I really wanted to make sure that in my LUT preset pack that you had full control versus just dropping it on and then having to adjust from there. So again, colors look good because it's like a Rec 709 color space that we want to get to, and everything looks pretty natural now. So all we did was just exposure, white balance, and contrast. I added more contrast because this is in C-Log 3. So pretty flat, but before and after looks good. Let's go to the next one. Now we have an interior shot. This is also on the R6, 16 to 35 in 4K, 30 frames per second. Looks awesome. Interior 1 log preset. Nice. Go back to our Lumetri scopes and see what this is looking like. Pretty much almost done. Let's see, bring down exposure a little bit down. Yeah, like right there. There we go. Highlights, try and recover as much of that window detail. The clip itself is a little skewed. Let me see. Come on, Ronin. There we go. That's better. Let's see, contrast. It was pretty good where it was at. Highlights a bit down, shadows a bit up. There we go. Blacks, were they hitting on the marker? Nice. Right at 0. I like them to go a little bit under 0 to hide some of that shadow detail. Let's play it back. Looks good. And so again, for my presets LUTs pack, I wanted it to be as easy as possible because, again, since it's typically the same scene, you will pretty much get the same results right when dropping that preset. But again, white balance, contrast, exposure, colors look good. There's nothing I really have to manipulate here, so that's pretty good. So now let's use some more, like, not trendy edits, but just more lifestyle based edits. So here I have a shot of me just, vlogging, and let's get this back to a color space. So I'm gonna go to my video presets, which these are almost done, like regular video presets that I can't wait to release. Put this on, bam, looks really good, just like that. Go back to our scopes, see if there's anything we need to tweak. Let's go back to this main clip right here. Nice. Blacks, where they at? Right there, just raise them a bit. Whites, we don't need that blown out gray sky, so that looks good right there. So now let's say we want to add another stylized look to it. Here's another one that I really like, and that's by Lens Distortions. The thing I really like about what they're doing is they do finishing LUTs, meaning they're meant to be applied after you finish your grade. So they should look good at like 80% to 100. So I have this Explorer Teal that I really like. Nice. I'm still gonna tone it down a bit. Let's see, let's start back and bring it back in. Cool, so turning it off, that's natural, which I think that looks pretty cool. Or if you turn that on, looks like 65 is like good. That looks good too. One more shot, this is a drone shot. Let's go back to my preset pack. Let's go to the real estate presets and drop drone log 1. This is shot on the Mavic Air 2 in 4K 30 and D-Cinelike. And let's adjust a couple things. Looks really contrasty. So blacks, whites, contrast down, shadows up, highlights down, some saturation. Yeah, all the way to 100. Same formula. We don't need to tweak colors though, because it looks good just like this, but same thing again. Like, let's say that this shot was part of a film or something and we wanted to add more of a stylized look. Let's go to the other version of that teal shot. Nice. But let's bring it back and enhance it. So like kind of like right there, and you can turn it off and on so it really gives you those like sandy highlights and kind of blue shadows, which is, you know, kind of a really cool look. So before and after, that's it. So there you have it, guys. That is my workflow for working with Lightroom presets and video LUTs, and just the approach I take to all of those, that this formula I feel works really well for them, whether I'm working with my preset packs, someone else's, and other companies or other creators. That same approach of just exposure, white balance, contrast, colors is just always like the way to get a really good result no matter what image I'm working with. And I feel like there's this stigma out there where if you use presets, you're like just cheating or just not really being like a real photographer or something. But for me, when I was growing up and learning about photography, and I looked up to some of my favorite creators and I bought their preset packs if they sold any, it was a great insight on editing to see what it was like to achieve the images that they were using. Now, the idea is not to just get these packs and replicate their style and just call it yours. Like, that's not the whole point of it. I see it more of just kind of like either a starting point or how to learn how to edit different ways and be like, oh, that's what they're doing at the tone curve, or what that's what they're doing to achieve that look or whatever, and then make your own or just develop your own style from there. And in my case, with the preset packs that I sell, I kind of fine-tuned everything that I always use for real estate photos and videos to just get it as easy and extensive and time efficient as possible whenever I'm editing these videos or these photos, to just replicate the same look and get the most consistent results for my work. And it's been great. So I feel like anyone that might just, you know, doubt or just knock presets or just, I don't get it. Now, the one thing I'll say is don't let your creativity be put in a box with these presets or LUTs. You might get one that you fall in love with, or you're just like, man, these that I make are awesome. I want all my work to look like this. And don't do that, because you want to diversify and always just try new things. And if you do that, you'll just find yourself in just this little creative box where you might be, you know, holding yourself back. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys learned a little bit from this editing workflow with presets and LUTs. If you're interested in any of my packs, I have them linked down below to the Moment store. And if you want to see more editing tutorials, leave a comment, because I'd love to check it out and do some more. And subscribe if you haven't already. I would love for you guys to be part of the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya. I hope this isn't a 20-minute video. I don't mean for them to be that long. It just happens. I'm like, this is gonna be a short one, and it's not. Well, I hope the information's worth it. See ya.